So this is 2A and 2B, looking at the syllabus dot points 2A and 2B, Rise of the Nazi Party and Hitler. So basically all these slides are, it's a list of events, and I'll talk about the events. Okay, so before 1923, what have we got? He's born in 1889 in Austria. He serves for Germany, so he travels to Germany, and he serves for the German army in 1914 to 1918. He's injured. He's quite a brave soldier. Fights well, receives the whatever star it is, the Iron Cross I think it is, for bravery, for being injured, and he blames Jews for the defeat. He thinks it's the Jews' fault. In 1919, so he works for the army after the war, and part of his kind of brief for what he's supposed to do in the army is that he is supposed to go and look at radical groups and kind of spy on them and make sure that what they're saying isn't too dodgy, etc., 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 or that they're not a threat. What he actually does is he goes to one of them, the German Workers' Party, and he actually joins it. So he stops being in the army and he joins the German Workers' Party. So that's September 1919. In August 1921, they form the SA. The SA stands for Sturmarbeit. So it's kind of like like a paramilitary group. It says it's a military wing, so they're basically strong-arm guys. Alright, some of them are ex-soldiers, a lot of them are just brawlers. A lot of them are big, burly guys. They go and they beat up communists, or they go during elections and intimidate people to vote for the Nazis rather than other people, etc., etc. So 1923 is the first party rally. This is a very small party. Okay, and 1923 it's still relatively small. So they have their first party rally in January 1923, and at the end of January, 8th and 9th of November, they try and take over a beer hall. Not try to take over a beer hall. They try and take over like a state government in Bavaria. They do it in a beer hall. Okay, so they try and stage a revolt, and they hope that the general populace will rise up with them, and they'll overthrow the Bavarian government. And it doesn't happen at all. All right, he's arrested. So that's the night of the 8th. The guy that they're supposed to be taking and holding against his will escapes in a kind of a brawl that occurs. The next day, they set out. Ludendorff, who's the famous general in World War I, he's with them in this. And the police actually open fire on the group of rebellious, whatever you want to call them, Nazi Party people. Hitler's unharmed, Ludendorff's unharmed, a couple of people are killed. Pretty sure Ernst Röhm, who we'll learn about later, he gets injured quite badly and is on prescription kind of pills and painkillers for the rest of his life. Takes him from being quite an attractive young fighter ace to a big, bloaty guy. Not Ernst Röhm. Göring. Sorry, Hermann Göring is what I'm talking about. Ernst Röhm was the head of the SA. Okay, so during this 5-year period, that's really the start of it going from kind of the Nazi Party going from obscurity to being a household name and actually pushing in elections for legitimacy and actually wanting to rule. So in 24, you've got Hitler is imprisoned for the beer hall putsch. He's given, as I said, it's a very light sentence. I think he's given a year. He serves 6 months. He writes Mein Kampf in there. That's kind of like his, as it says, major ideological statement, what he wants to happen. He puts a couple of things in there. He blames the Jews, and he says that that Germany's destiny is in the east, not the west, in the east toward Russia. That's where Lebensraum is, or living space. He says Germany should be a big agricultural country, and it needs space to do that. And Russia has the space, so we should use it. We should take it and use it. All right, this is in 1924 that he's writing this, and it's published, so everyone knows it. He's released after only 16 months, and he's a hero. People are pretty happy with him. So the party that began again by Hitler is now under stronger leadership. So whereas it was a party that was a radical party, few people, they weren't real organised, he reorganises it, he becomes the leader, he really pushes it from strength to strength. However, before the Depression comes, they're not really making much headway when it comes to elections. Not many people are voting for them. They're won against a whole heap of other parties just like them. I guess is the best way of saying it. This is by Noakes and Pridham. The trial received enormous publicity, and Hitler's bravado enabled him to turn the ignominious failure of the putsch into a considerable propaganda victory. He claimed it was a patriotic act. As a result of this stand, Hitler now became a hero to many anti-Semites in other parts of Germany who had before had never heard of him.